Morning, Trainiacs. So, NTK. If you haven't been around, NTK, No Triathlon Kim, my wife, has been running. Like after 11 years of battling Lyme disease, she's feeling a little bit better and starting to exercise again. Very proud of her. She's done a couple of runs lately where she is so into data, such a data junkie, because I set her up with a Garmin running watch. And she's analyzing her heart rate and her pace, and we realized, holy smokes, her heart rate's really high. So we figured, I've done many videos on this, but realized that I've never done like a complete start to finish beginner zone 2 lowering your heart rate plan. How do you get started? How do you calculate your heart rate correctly? How do you set up your watch? What watch should you get? Should you be using a watch heart rate monitor? What happens if you go out and your heart rate is tremendously high? What do you actually do? So she's got a run to do in a little while. And hey, Gracie, come on. We'll go for a run with her. We'll set her all up with how to get going. NTK, Trainiacs, NTK, if any of you don't know. Some don't. There are like hundreds of new people every single day. We can't assume that. Okay, first things first. We've got to calculate your heart rate cap. What we want is to keep you running under your zone 2 heart rate cap. Easiest and quickest way to do that without putting you through a really painful test is Mitochondria method calculation is what you want to Google. Okay, so Phil Maffetone, the MAF method, the MAF method, the maximum aerobic function, it's just a coincidence that it's the MAF method, this is a little bit more customized than just 180 minus your age or a certain percentage of 220 minus your age. So what we're going to do is you start with subtracting your age from 180. Then after that, if you have or are recovering from a major illness, heart disease, any operation, hospital stay, rehab, or on any regular medication, in any stage of chronic overtraining, anything like that, we're going to subtract an additional 10. Being that she's recovering from Lyme disease and everything, we're going to subtract another 10. Or if you're just starting, just getting back into training, subtract an additional 5. If you've been training consistently for up to 2 years without any of the problems mentioned above, no modification is necessary. Or if you've been training for more than 2 years without any of those problems, add 5. How do we actually monitor that properly during a run? She has been using the Garmin 245 Music. Now, this has a heart rate monitor built in. A lot of people say, well, I've got a heart rate monitor. This, for running, not great. Like, it's a great watch, but the heart rate monitor for running, because there's so much jostling, even Garmin says, yeah, it loses some accuracy. What you want is a chest strap. So this is the Garmin HRM Pro. The Garmin HRM Pro you can swim with, you can connect to Zwift, you can connect to Bluetooth, you can connect to your watch, you can do all of the things that you need to do, and this is designed to replace like all other Garmin heart rate monitors now, specifically for triathletes. The next thing that we're going to do for her is set up the watch correctly to get this to monitor heart rate properly. What we're going to do is we're going to set up the run data screens so that heart rate is on there. We've got distance, we've got time, we've got pace. More than anything, let's just change this and we'll put heart rate down there. Okay, so that's done. We are going to make a heart rate alert and we're going to set it to a custom alert when her heart rate goes over the heart rate cap that we sent. And then this is going to buzz to let her know when she's going above it. Now we run. She's so excited about running. What's the workout today?
Well, this is a zone 2 run, and I have to stay below my heart rate cap. And it's not going to take much to get there.
What are you at now?
113.
Come on.
116. I'm staring at my watch the whole time. 21, 16.
Well, we set the alarm so that you don't have to stare at your watch the whole time.
Okay.
So she's already walking. The reason that it is so hard for her, and it's really hard for people right at the start, is because when you are exercising, You need these things called mitochondria to produce energy. If you aren't terribly fit, you don't have a lot of mitochondria. Mitochondria is developed by exercising at low intensities. So if you're just starting, you don't really have any mitochondria. And the issue with going and running and just saying, you know what, I'm not too concerned about developing mitochondria, I'm worried about running, is that, yeah, you're going to just teach your body how to run, so you're going to get better right away, but your potential is going to cap out right away. So if you can exercise at a lower pace, or just generally day to day have a lower heart rate, burn more fat, because you've got more mitochondria that are burning more efficiently, you're going to be healthier, and your potential for exercise is actually going to increase. How you doing so far?
Well, mostly walking. As you can see, 1 or 2 steps, and then I hit the heart rate ceiling again and I have to walk again. And it's not going down as fast as you'd think either.
How does it feel to be walking now? We haven't set this up at all.
Disappointing. Like super disappointing. What good is this? I walk the dogs and I can't do a triathlon, so how's this gonna help me?
Well, we've enlisted the help of a friend of ours, Ben Canute, who is a pro triathlete. He's an Olympian, that he has a message about heart rate training.
Hey Kim, it's Ben Canute. It's okay to run slow or even walk during your runs. Check this out.
Long run on tap today. Gonna go out here at Brown's Ranch, just kind of cruise around and get in some miles. I do a lot of my runs, especially longer runs, as run walk, which just kind of helps keep the fatigue a little bit lower and the load on the legs a little bit lower than if you're just doing a straight run. So it's a little bit, I guess, different than a lot of people do, but it's been working well to keep me injury free for the past few years. Enjoy doing runs both ways.
Thanks, Ben. At the end of this video, I'll link to his YouTube channel. Him and his wife, Courtney, they do a YouTube channel, and you can follow along. It's good stuff. So even at really elite levels, people are still doing run walks to keep their heart rate down and to keep the fatigue out of the body. The reason you want to keep your heart rate down more often, and you want over the course of a year about 80% of your time to be spent under this heart rate cap, and you can find your total time spent in an app like Garmin Connect, is that there's study after study after study that show that somewhere around when you start spending more than about 20 or 30% of your time in higher heart rates, you start getting injured, you start getting sick, and it just really starts affecting your overall health. You can be working harder and actually doing more damage than you're doing good. So you want to build up a huge amount of time at that low heart rate zone. And because you're just starting out, while right now she's just walking
Too fast according to the heart rate monitor.
That's going to change a lot. What's going to happen is as you start training more and more, because it's such a new thing, your body's going to have this new stimuli, so it's going to be very easy for a lot of people, if they follow it, to actually reduce their heart rate or increase their pace, because you're going to adapt to it fairly quickly. Your body doesn't want to have to walk. And then the question obviously becomes, like, how are you supposed to make progress if all you're doing is walking? Well, think of it this way. Your body doesn't understand a pace. What it understands is an effort level, and based on different effort levels, it does different things. At a low effort level, it builds mitochondria. At a high effort level, it makes the mitochondria you have function better. The number of mitochondria that you have in your body determines your potential. And that mitochondria is best built at low effort levels. So it doesn't matter if the pace is low, if your heart rate is in that right low effort level zone, you're gonna be building mitochondria. Now I feel bad for her because I'm sure this is discouraging, having to walk, but it's kind of the building the foundation of health, of fitness. It's training to be able to train. It's getting you ready to be able to do all those things in a healthy way progress. Whereas if you just go and do high heart rate training, sure, you're going to be making a tiny little amount of mitochondria that you have function better, but you're not going to be functioning your body any better, if that makes sense. How do you feel about this at this moment in time?
This is useless.
What were the results?
Mostly walking.
How long did you go?
20 minutes.
What's your biggest thought from that?
It's disappointing. I had done 4.5 weeks of run walk, and I was able to run longer. My heart rate was through the roof. After the last one I did, which had a couple of 6-minute blocks of running, my face was red and hot for
like 2 hours.
2 hours after. I mean, through the roof heart rate for sure, and the Garmin definitely reflected that. So I know that's not good. So this obviously but it still felt like an accomplishment because I haven't run in years and haven't been able to do much activity because of Lyme. So that felt like an accomplishment, but I guess not in a good way. So just walking, or
It's
like
a fine way.
90% of walking feels like a big step back.
It's not though, because it's two things. If you're doing it for health, having more mitochondria is going to make you a healthier person because you're going to be able to, even just throughout the day, have a lower heart rate, which is easier on your system. If it's for performance and you want to start thinking about racing anything, you're going to have a bigger engine because you're going to have more energy producers.
The funny thing was, and I said this to you, every time I had to do my run in the last 5 weeks, I've said, I have to do my run. And then as I was walking this time, I said, well, here's an attitude change. How come I don't get to run now? So, perspective.
Now, let's say you don't buy this and you're like, no, there's no way that I can be running that slow. Well, you can do another step up, like more customized test. Go and do a max effort on a track, like we would say a 2-mile warm-up, then 2 miles of tempo, then 400 meters, building to like max effort, and then another 400 meters where every subsequent 100 meters you're going harder and pushing more and more. That should get you a pretty max heart rate. And then get a overnight resting heart rate, like the lowest heart rate you have over the course of a few days, which is usually while you're sleeping, and then go to the Karvonen formula, and the result that is given to you in the Karvonen formula, 70%, is more customized. Most of the time it ends up being kind of the same. Now, 2 things that you can do if you want to really adopt heart rate training. You can go to triathlontaren.com/HR training. This will give you kind of a more structured system. It'll give you all of your zones, your low, your high, based on a max heart rate, based on the Maffetone method calculation. And you can go check out this video right over here, which gives you some ideas about how to lower your heart rate, just to make it a little bit easier for you to execute. First off, don't dress like that. You're going to be super hot.
Yeah, it's pretty warm.
Yeah, you want to be cold when you start, ideally. All right, now you guys say later, Trainiacs.
Later, Trainiacs.